Okay. Hey, everybody. So there you go. I told you straight up that I was working on somebody else's laptop and it just completely stopped right in the middle of my live broadcast. So this is not ideal. I'm on my phone. I have a harder time with this whole thing. But here again, this is authenticity, right? We're talking about authenticity today. I'm going to leave that beginning piece on there, especially I can comment on there for Brenda. Congratulations, Brenda. You won the copy of the book from last week. But shit goes wrong, guys. Okay. So the biggest thing with authenticity is this idea of not wearing masks. And perfectionism is a mask that we can easily put up. There was a time in my life where I maybe would have literally just about died from the fact that in the middle of this thing, everything fell apart. But here we are. I'm back. So we were talking about authenticity, and I was sharing with you all that with the increasingly digital-based way that we're communicating with one another, I think there's a couple things. There's a couple things that make it really hard. The first is that it's easy to put on a mask and put on a fake persona when you're not standing face to face with a person. It's easy because you can say everything. It feels very one directional. People can comment, people can like, people can love now, right? You've got your various Facebook buttons specifically, but there's not that pressure to get it all right, so you can fake it a little bit more. And I think a lot of you probably experience that, where you know somebody in real life and you know their online persona, and there's somewhat of a disconnect. So that's one aspect. The second aspect is that there's just so much more ability for women in particular to compare themselves to other people. And the thing that sucks the most about that is we're often comparing our beginning to other people's middle, or potentially even their end. And what's more is that we oftentimes look at people, we're jealous of what they have, or we feel envious of what they have, and we have no idea the process or the work that they had to do to get it. And social media it waters down and it dilutes a lot of our communication. And so authenticity to me has never mattered more than it matters now. And I have some actual tips and actual things for you to be thinking about. Some of it is just mindset work, which I'm sorry, but that's largely what success is. It's getting control and getting a handle on the shit that runs between our ears that we tell ourselves on a day-to-day basis. Okay, so I'd shared in the first take one, that I had just recently written an article about this for the Ladies Coach. And I'm going to share with you a little bit about that article, kind of how this question came about, because it was actually in my Groove School coaching program, where one of my Groove Schoolers asked the question. Well, she just made the comment. I really feel okay. So let me back up just a little bit, give you a little bit of her history. She was an employed person working for somebody else. She was an employee. And recently she's made that big leap of faith to run her own business. And she made the comment, I just sometimes feel like I need to be more professional. And I said, who told you that? And she said, well, nobody. I just feel sometimes she goes, I like to curse a little bit. I'm a little bit snarky. My sense of humor is kind of sarcastic. And she goes, I just don't always know that it comes off as professional. And so this is when I looked at her and I said, this isn't a professionalism problem. This is an authenticity problem. And so for those of you that are on this call or that will listen to this on the replay, I keep calling it a call. I'm sorry, it's not a call. Those of you that watch this and listen to the replay, for those of you that are running businesses, a lot of us are familiar with the factor called the know, like, and trust factor, the KLT factor. Bob Berg, who wrote a book called Endless Referrals and The Go-Giver, he came, I think he's the person that's credited this know, like, and trust factor concept. And this idea that, all other things being equal, people will spend more money, do more business with people that they know, like, and trust. And so for those of us that are running businesses, I think a lot of times we get in this mindset of how do I get people to like me? And even social media, you're chasing likes and you're chasing that praise and you're chasing that appreciation. And what we first need to do is back up to the foundational part, which is being known. So the first part of that factor is know. no like and trust. And I think a lot of us want to somehow short circuit being known and putting ourselves out there in a real meaningful way and doing things that maybe aren't 100% us in the hopes that people will like it, and then obviously they'll buy from us. Long term, that isn't going to work. And I always say that you can't fake your way into a real relationship with people. That holds true in friendships, and it holds true in business. Because, thinking about friends, this authenticity, this matters in just personal relationships too. So if you go out into let's say you go to a party, you're invited to some social event, and you go and you try to fit in, meaning you do things maybe that aren't 100% you, or maybe you're acting a little bit incongruently with what you normally would do. Even if everybody in the room loves you, they don't love you. They love the fake, phony persona that you showed them. And long term, that isn't gonna work. And it's not a satisfying relationship for you. Eventually you're going to do something that defies that persona, or you're gonna be more you, and then they won't like you and you'll feel crappy about yourself, like something's wrong with you. How about instead we think about how can we walk into situations and just own who we really are, knowing that you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea. It's not even possible, and it shouldn't be the goal, really. I want everybody to, get along with me, okay? But you can't even control that, okay? So I think this whole chase, or this whole pursuit of trying to get people to like us, which ultimately, if we have businesses, we're trying to get people to buy from us. Instead, we got to step back and think about, how do I show up? And I always use the phrase full strength you, because a lot of times I have felt I have a big personality. I'm kind of loud. I'm maybe kind of obnoxious. Like, I can own that. And I a lot of times think, well, that's too much to show somebody right off the bat. Like, I don't want to freak them out, or I don't want to make them, afraid, or just being off-putting. But at the end of the day, eventually that is who I'm going to be. And so why would you wait? Show people who you really are. Step up and be who you really are. Okay, so here's a few things as we think about I want to share with you just a few ideas of how to really become more authentic. So here's the first thing. Authenticity isn't something that you can actually chase. You can't pursue it. You can't find it outside of yourself. Ironically, the more that we look outside of ourselves to find authenticity, the less authentic we're becoming. Because, and this really leads into kind of the second point, is that everyone always says, so it was Teddy Roosevelt, I think it was Teddy Roosevelt, that said, comparison is the thief of joy. And I always say to people, like, don't compare yourself to other people. But at the end of the day, we're always going to do that, right? And in business, it's really hard. If you've got a business, I have a lot of friends in network marketing. Those businesses, all you see are the people that are killing it and the people that are just setting the world on fire, and you want everything that they have. There's literally no way that I can tell you that you shouldn't ever compare yourself to other people, because I actually think if you're in business, you should be kind of paying attention to what competition is doing. Here's where it becomes a problem. It's all about what you feel when you're looking. Okay, so if I'm looking to the side of me, or maybe way ahead of me, right, at somebody way further down the road in their entrepreneurial journey than I am, and I look at them and I think, I wish I could be like them. I wish I could have everything that they have. I wish that my life looked like their life. That is just riddled with envy and jealousy, and it's diminishing my gifts and my qualities, asking or wishing that I could be somebody else. Where on the flip side, if I'm doing that same thing and I'm having that conversation and I'm saying to myself, what about their process could I use in my business? What tools are they doing? What ideas are they offering? What is their marketing? What is their advertising? What are the strategies they're using that are something I could take and tweak in my own business? Those are two totally different things. So what I really want to remind you all is that comparison is not the same as inspiration. And I look to people that I aspire to be like because I'm inspired by that. So aspiration and comparison are not the same thing. It all is about what you feel when you're doing it. Okay? So I don't ever want to say don't compare yourselves to others at all, because I think that's kind of unrealistic. But it's all about, what are you really looking at? Are you wishing you could be different? Are you wishing you could be like them? Instead of saying, what are they doing that I could modify for myself? And then really the last thing, when you're thinking about this idea of embracing full strength you, it isn't so much about like, how do I become more authentic? It's more about recognizing in yourself when you're not being authentic. And here's a few ways that those things can come up. So the first is anytime that we mimic other people. So kind of going back to that comparison thing, when we see something somebody else is doing and we just steal something from them and we don't change it to make it sound like us, and we don't nuance it to make it fit with our lives, that's mimicking or copying or copycatting. And it's really hard not to do that sometimes in business. But again, it isn't, what we need to remember is so going back to know, like, and trust. So there might be somebody, there's a lot of women that I follow in business, and they are adored and revered, but it's because they're being who they are. Like, I could try to do something. Marie Forleo is someone that stands out in my mind. She's revered. People adore her. People love her. But I can't act like her and expect that same result, because I'm not her. I'm me. So again, when you mimic somebody, it's like you're trying to take yourself out of the equation and short circuit being known. That is not a sustainable way to build a business or to have real people in your life, real relationships in your life that have meaning. The second is any time we're masquerading as someone that we're really not. So this would go back to that social situation where if you're not a naturally outgoing person and you push yourself really hard to tell jokes and be funny, that's masquerading. Because there's a place for introverted people, and there's a place for extroverted people, and there's a place for people that like details, and there's a place for people that are bigger picture thinkers. And when we think we have to be something different than we are, it might be an environmental problem. So like if you at work right now are struggling and you just feel like who you really are doesn't fit, it isn't that there's something inherently wrong with you. It may just be that the environment that you're in doesn't support who you really are. So a lot of times I think we spend a lot of time trying to change ourselves to fit people and to fit environments, when really what we need to do is choose wisely about where and who we spend time with. That'll naturally support who we are. The third thing that you might be doing, where again, this is times that you might be inauthentic, is anytime you compromise on what you feel is right. And I've said this before, that I think a lot of times we're shocked to think that anybody would ever change their values because someone asked you to, like at work. I think our knee-jerk reaction, if someone says, would you ever change your values for a boss or for a coworker? Right away we get defensive and we say, well, no, I would never do that. But we do it all the time. Any time that we do something that's just slightly outside of the lines of what we think is right or wrong, right there, we're defying our own authenticity, defying our own true selves. And then the fourth thing is, this kind of a generic sentence or statement, but anytime you just feel kind of weird in your own skin. And again, it isn't you. It may just be the environment, and it may be the people that you're hanging out with. And so all I can do is seriously encourage you to think about this and think about where you find yourself really struggling to be full strength you. Is it people? Is it certain environments? And if so, what are you going to do to change that for yourself? Because it is not only is it not a groovy way to live, right? So this whole idea of having your groove back, it's not fulfilling, and it tears and destroys and rips at your fulfillment and your core and your peace, because it's not a sustainable thing to constantly change who you are to fit with people that they're not the right people for you, is what it means. So what are you going to do about it? How are you going to change that for yourself? Is it leaving a job? Is it leaving a spouse? And I don't ever encourage like divorce. That's not what I'm doing. But the point is, Friendships, the people you're allowing into your circle, are they lifting you up? Are they supportive and loving of the full strength you? And if not, how are you going to put boundaries around your time and space and energy that you spend with them so that you can protect yourself? Because who you are is awesome. Who you are is, you're the only person exactly like you. And I know that's so damn cliche, but I'm telling you that especially if you're building a business that's based on your brand, on who you are as a person, nothing matters more than getting really clear on what you care about and not giving a shit who loves it or who doesn't love it. And I'm not saying you run around offending people all the time, but you're really cognizant of the facts. So going back to my friend that asked this question that kicked off this whole topic, she said, I'm a little snarky and I curse a little bit and I just don't know if that's professional. The bottom line is, if she is potentially got a prospect or a client that might be offended by those things, they are not her ideal client. Bottom line, they can get the service she provides somewhere else and from somebody else. So it's never about diluting yourself down to fit with other people. It's about going full strength you and then watching as you attract the people that love who you really are. Friendships, business, no matter what the nature of the relationship, this holds true. So, friends, be you. Be beautifully, full strength, authentic you. Don't spend so much time worrying about what everybody thinks about you. Be who you are, and the right people, the people that get it, you'll be like a magnet. You'll be pulling them in. It's an amazing gift. It's an amazing thing. And like I said, I just don't think at this point almost nothing matters more, because there's so much noise. And the only way to cut above the noise is to speak loudly and clearly in your voice with your thoughts and your ideas and express them in a way that other people that feel those things can feel them too. Okay, so I would love nothing more than to hear your thoughts about all of this. And so here, I think maybe right now I'm going to give away a book for the top comment. If you comment and you share even just one time or one example of a time where you have been less than full strength you. If you're brave enough to do that, I'll send you a book. And if we get more of you, I'll do a live drawing and we'll draw a name at random. But this is one of those things we all experience it and nobody talks about it. Nobody wants to say anything about it. We want to walk around pretending that we all feel really comfortable in our own skin, but we all have times where we don't feel like it. And the most important thing is when you feel that, then what do you do about it? Do you promise yourself you're never going to hang out with that person again? Do you set a boundary for yourself so you don't fall back into that? Is it a social situation? Do you say no to the next one? What are you going to do? Because that's when it really matters. It's not just the mindset work. It's also then how does that turn into a habit or a change or a shift where you're going to do something different in your behavior as well. Okay, so that is what I've got for you today on Rebecca Undum. I'm so sorry about the technology glitch. Computer just literally shut off right in the middle. And I'm like, well, there we go. So sorry about the audio and the video quality. I know it's kind of shitty on my phone, but I promise to come live at you at least once a week. And so here we are. So again, I'll share with you the link for the free workbook. So I'm going to grab it here for you. So this is the Groove Finders Guide to, it's just the Groove Finders Guide series. Each separate one, there's 14 different topics that have a separate, topical thing. There's 14 of them in this workbook, and you can get the workbook for free. It's just RebeccaUndum.com/workbook. I'll put the link up. So please go snag that. That's a good deal. And again, giving away a signed copy of my book to anybody that shares a time when they felt that lack of authenticity. Might have been you don't have to call out a person, of course, but maybe it was a situation or maybe it was a person that you spent time with that you just don't feel like you. Okay, I would love to hear from you on this topic. As always, if you have any questions or topics that you'd like me to cover on Rebecca Undum Live, all you got to do is shoot me a text or an email. I would love to help you out with anything. Check out Groove School. If you're a lady sitting on this call and this topic in particular really touches your heart, check out Groove School. It's support. It's support and real accountability when you're trying to make a sustainable change in some area of your life. Okay, we're all working on different things. It's not like we're all focused on the same thing. Not everybody in the group is a business owner. Not everybody in the group lives in rural America. Everyone in the group is a woman, however. That's the only caveat. So dudes, I'm really sorry. Maybe one day we'll open up and there'll be a groove school for dudes. I don't know. But for now, it's just for women. So please check that out. If you have any questions, let me know. And until we meet again, everybody, groove on and be you. I want to see full strength you, not the watered down, diluted version of yourself. Okay? Much love, everybody. Have a great day, and we'll talk again soon.